Aren't you tired of feeling like your old self again after doing all this hard work? What if I told you there's a mental reset that only 1% of people complete, and no one talks about day 7, but here it is. Let's lock in who you've become. This is your guide to the 7-day mind reset. Today, day 7. Identity blocking is the final, decisive step. Will you retreat or irreversibly renew yourself? Comment below if you've ever felt like you're still the same person you always were, even after major changes. On day 3, I replaced my old habit of scrolling at night with a focused reading ritual, and I felt different. But 2 weeks later, I was back on Instagram at 2 a.m. I wondered, is change even real unless it sticks? Think about this. What scares you more, losing the new you or being stuck as that old version forever? I'll show you the never fail identity lock formula, and we'll connect it to one powerful neuroscience insight. But stay with me, because I'll also give you a free printable journal prompt that flips this neural switch permanently. Let's talk science. Simplified. Your identity is built through repeated actions, which rewire your brain. Each choice creates a stronger pathway, and over time, your brain starts treating this new version of you as the default. Day 7 is when that becomes permanent. Imagine it like forging a steel rod. If it's bent early, it holds that shape forever. In this video, I'll teach you my 3-step identity lock method, share a real story from one of our subscribers, and give you a small but powerful challenge you can do today. Let's dive into the first piece. Visual identity anchors. I want you to choose a single image, phrase, or object that captures who you are becoming. Maybe it's a photo of you in your strongest moment, or just 3 words that define your future identity. Now, attach a daily ritual to it. Maybe every morning you say those 3 words out loud while making coffee. Maybe you tap the photo before bed. It's not about the act itself, it's about repetition and meaning. Later, I'll show you how to reinforce that anchor with emotional power, and even how to defend it when stress threatens to pull you back. Stay until the end, because I'll give you a method to combine all of this into one 3-minute master ritual you can use for life. You're becoming someone new, but what locks that identity in place is what happens after the transformation. Now, as we continue, let's recap what you've already built and dive into the next layer of transformation, emotional reinforcement, to cement everything you've created so far, because this is where the identity becomes stronger and more unshakable. Up to now, you've chosen your visual anchor, you've committed to a daily ritual, and soon we'll reinforce that anchor with emotional power. But right now, we're going to focus on how pairing that anchor with deep emotion accelerates neural rewiring, because emotion is the energy that fuels identity. Here's how you do it, simplified, step by step. After you look at your anchor, take a moment to recall a moment when you truly felt proud of your new self. It could be a moment as small as waking up early and feeling clear, or as big as pushing through a hard workout or conquering a challenge you weren't sure you could finish. Tap into that feeling, let it wash through you, and silently say, I am this person. Because when you couple the image or phrase with that emotion, your brain creates a powerful association, making that identity feel real, emotional, and unshakable. I want you to hold that feeling, because later we're going to build on this with environmental cues and even defense rituals. So anchor your mind now in pride and let it settle into your body. Think about a moment when you felt proud of your new identity. Really feel it. And if you're feeling that now, hit like to signal to your brain and to the algorithm that this moment matters. Now, let's bring in lesson 3, environmental lock. We'll use simple cues in your surroundings to reinforce your new identity. For example, set your phone wallpaper to that visual anchor, or stick one-word prompts in your bathroom cabinet or on your fridge that remind you who you are becoming. So every time you interact with your environment, you're getting subconscious reinforcement. Your brain sees the cues, your mind clicks into identity mode, and over time those cues become shortcuts to your new identity. One follower told me she set her phone wallpaper to her morning mantra, and every time she unlocked her phone, she felt realigned, as if her future self was looking back at her, reminding her of her direction. And that's the power of environmental identity design. Now, I'm going to pause here because this is a good place to engage with your feelings. So think, what's one environmental cue you can set right now? What's the first thing you can change around you to remind yourself who you're becoming? Type it in the comments now, because your environment is your silent coach, and I want to hear what cue you choose. Stay with me, because in the next block, I'll show you how to defend this identity lock from sabotage, how to protect your progress from stress, fatigue, and old triggers, and we'll weave everything together into a complete transformation formula. From here, let's recap briefly what's working so far and ramp up the stakes, because even the strongest anchors and cues can be shaken when stress or fatigue hits. So we need a defense. This is what turns a good transformation into an irreversible identity lock. Up to now, you've created your visual anchor, you've paired it with emotion, you've woven that into your environment, but life throws curveballs, and without a defense ritual, that new identity can unravel in seconds when you're stressed or tired. So what if I told you there's a simple trigger you can use in those moments to instantly switch your mind back into that new identity? Let me show you how to do it. Whenever you feel self-doubt creeping in or notice yourself slipping into old patterns, here's your defense ritual. Put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and silently repeat your identity statement. I am this new me, or whatever phrase defines your transformation, because this pause in physical anchor recalibrates your nervous system and interrupts the default pathway, letting you choose your future, not react to the past. And here's what happened to me last week. I woke up stressed, rushed into the day, skipped my morning ritual, and by noon I was spiraling. But I remembered the ritual. I paused, hand on heart, breathed, repeated my statement, and I felt grounded again. That little moment saved my entire afternoon and kept me on track. Think of your biggest stress switch, the moment when you fall back most direly. Now imagine you've inserted this defense ritual, a 3-second reboot, that flips the switch back. What could that change in your day? Type that scenario in the comments, because sharing it out loud turns intention into action. Stay with me, because next we're going to tie all of this together with the master ritual that ensures everything you've built stays locked in, no matter what life throws at you. And that's coming up in the final block. From here, let's recap in brief what you've already built. Because if you've followed all steps, anchor, emotion, environment, defense, you're powerful, but only one ritual ties it all together. It's your master ritual, the mental firewall that cements the identity lock no matter what life throws at you. Here's how it works. Every evening, spend 3 minutes walking through a combined session where you breathe deeply, revisit your visual anchor, replay your proud moments, then journal with the prompt, "Today I became who I am," and finally, make a future pledge out loud, because this sequence works in your brain's reconsolidation window, restaking the path for identity permanence. One subscriber shared that after using this routine nightly, she not only locked in her new habits, but even got promoted at work, because she wasn't just doing the work, she became the person who deserves that promotion. Pause for a moment. Breathe and reflect. Who are you now after these 7 days? And what's different about your mindset, your energy, your habits? Every step you took rewired your brain, and you're not the person who needed more willpower anymore. You're the person who locks identity. So own it. If this series has transformed you, share it with someone still stuck in old habits. Comment stuck below. Subscribe if you haven't already. You're no longer rebuilding, you're reinventing. And we'll see you on the other side. Just a bit. One habit can change everything.